Did you miss your deadline to renew your Medicaid coverage? You can still send your completed annual review form to Healthy Connections Medicaid. You may be assigned to another health plan, but you can ask to come back to First Choice within 60 days of renewed Medicaid eligibility. It's your family. It's your choice. First Choice is the right choice. Renew and choose us. Visit selecthealthofsc.com/renew to learn more.
Between aging and busy lifestyles, many women struggle with maintaining their physical and mental wellness. At Aquavita Concierge Healthcare Services for Women, we can help you revitalize your health and reclaim your life. We start from within by balancing your hormones, allowing your body to achieve and maintain desired weight goals. We also specialize in peptide therapies, regenerative medicine, sexual health, and aesthetics in our state-of-the-art facilities. Feel better, look better, live better at Aquavita. Visit aquavitality.com and begin your journey today.
Well, hello, my paranormal peeps, and welcome back to another Deep Woods Paranormal Podcast. My name is Matt Harvey. I am the founder and lead investigator with Deep Woods Paranormal. Along with my wife, Amanda, we investigate everything paranormal, be it Bigfoot, UFOs, ghosts, aliens, dogman, cryptid creatures, river monsters. If it's paranormal in nature, we investigate it. So, let's get into this. We're going to get into the Bigfoot podcast today. Unfortunately, this is about the 5th time I've recorded this. I don't know what's going on. I did not record the first time, even though it said recording. Second time, the file was corrupt. And this time, I don't know. We're going to hopefully get this through. So I apologize for the lack of podcasts. I keep saying that, but I do apologize for that. This is a hobby. And unfortunately, other things come first sometimes. My cell phone decided to go basically to cell phone heaven this weekend. So I haven't had a cell phone all weekend. I've been dealing with that and other things. Amanda and I are going on a paranormal vacation starting Tuesday. So we're going to be cool cruising around different places in Louisiana, hopefully talking to different people about their paranormal locations. So I've been working on that, trying to set up appointments to meet with those people. So again, a lot of stuff going on in the background. All right. So we're going to talk about a lot of things today. We're going to talk about Bigfoot hair samples, gifting. That's a big thing people keep asking me about. What do you gift? What do you give to a Bigfoot? And we'll talk about that. Footprints. Is that the best evidence of Bigfoot there is? These huge footprints that are out in the middle of nowhere and stuff like that. So, and somebody asked me why I think Texas is the best place for Bigfoot. I'll talk about that. Is Bigfoot being hidden from us by the Big Brother? I'm not going to say the other word. Is Bigfoot do Bigfoots really create nests or sculptures? Or structures, excuse me, sculptures. And they can do sculptures too. They do stack rocks and stuff like that. And then we'll take a look at the Spookum cast, because I do think that is a really good piece of evidence. They were very lucky to find that. And the right circumstances, and they just happened on it. Okay, so let's share my screen. Let me make sure I'm actually sharing my screen. So we'll start here with these. All right. So I got this offline. I can't remember what website. It was just basically a Google search. And if you remember me talking about the hair samples wherever they went, I'll show you my hair samples that we just recently found, and we'll take a closer look at them in just a minute here. So I'll show you them up close. Doesn't look like this. This has a medulla. You could see the medulla. That little black stuff inside here is inside the hair. That's the medulla. And they say that a lot of basically living creatures have that. Humans have it. A lot of animals have that. And there's a theory, and again, it's just theory, that Bigfoots don't have the medulla. There's been several hair samples found without the medulla. So we'll definitely take a look at that. Let me stop sharing my screen for just a second. All right, so you'll be able to see this. But this is just a bag. This was found, again, I've talked about this many times. I've told you I would look through. Inside here, there's a lot of hairs, a lot of hair samples. I don't know if let me just start with this. It was found about 10 feet in the air. So that rules out a lot of animals, dogs, cats, unless they were out on the very unsturdy branch. They probably would have broken the branch off if they were up that high. The cats I know dogs can and do climb trees here and there, but this was not in a place where a dog would actually go out. They would have fallen. So, and a cat probably too. This was a branch that was up high enough so that it had to have scraped something. Something had to have gone by and literally like got its hair rubbed off the top of its head or off of shoulder or something. We didn't find any prints underneath, unfortunately. We did find some prints nearby, and we took some pictures of that. And again, this will be part of exploring the unknown with Matt and Amanda. My friend David will be our guest investigator for that. We've already done some investigations with him. We're going to be going back out to the place we found the hair samples and go from there. But let me reshare my screen again. So I'm comparing notes. Now, I wanted these hair samples are extremely coarse. They're thick, they're tough, they're not like thin and easily breakable or whatever. You really have to pull to break them apart. So they're pretty tough. And my thinking was, okay, you got a 5-foot horse or whatever, and they've got a 3-foot, tail or whatever. Maybe they whipped some of their hair. Maybe they were trying to whip a fly off of them or something. Maybe they got hit with excuse me, let me try that again. Maybe they caught some of their hair in this tree. Not likely, but it could have been. So let me show you the hair samples I'm discussing. Let me see if I can zoom in. Unfortunately, the little microscope that I have does not zoom in far enough to see the medulla. I thought that this would be one of those ones where I could zoom in and actually get a real look at the hair and see if there was a medulla or not before I sent it out so that I wouldn't waste anybody's time. But you can see how coarse this hair is. This is one hair that splits into two, which is interesting. So I don't know. Again, I'm going to have some kind of expert come on and talk to me about this. I need to find somebody that is an expert in the hair samples that can possibly take a look at some of these hairs so I can send them to them. I can cut a couple pieces, put them in a little baggie and ship them out and see, if they can take a look and see what they think about them. Hopefully we'll do some kind of deeper dive than I can, and they'll be able to actually zoom in and see what they see. Do they see medulla? Do they not see medulla? If they don't, then we have a pretty strong case for more chances of it possibly being a Bigfoot. So let me show you the next sample. Let's see if I can get to the next picture. Here we go. So here it is, a little more zoomed out. You can see this little scale has this little microphone has a little scale down here, and as close as I zoomed into this, you can't really see. It starts to blur when I get too close. You can't really see a medulla, but you can see how thick and coarse that hair is. It's not thin, it's pretty thick. I'd like to collect a hair sample from a horse's tail and maybe a mane and see if the hairs are close. But most of these hairs actually are extremely long. They're 6, 7, 8 inches long. So they're not short. And they're kind of blackish, brownish in color. So that doesn't mean anything. But anyways, let's see if we can do the next picture. So I grabbed an actual dog hair off the floor and to kind of take a look at that. And you can't see the medulla, which is a little kind of like a vein inside the hair. But you can see the difference, how thin this is compared to whatever the other sample is. Again, I'm not gonna say it's Bigfoot, but I'm just curious to see if we can find out more and get more information. I got to go hopefully talk to somebody at Texas A&M and see if they can help us out and take a look at the samples and say, this is from this or this is from that, or I don't know. And if we get to the point where they say, I don't know, then, we possibly have a chance to say, okay, that could be something real. Let me stop sharing the screen for a second. So that's what I'm trying to do. I don't know why it's so hazy here tonight. Also, yeah, the haunted dolls, we never got to do the investigation with them. We're trying to get ready for vacation. My phone died. We had a service for it and basically put it in hell where it belonged. But my phone had bent and broken the motherboard inside. And so it was giving me problems, not doing anything, not connecting to anything, couldn't make any phone calls, and all of a sudden it just went black. Yay. So got to go out and buy a new phone. Great. Anyways, so yeah. So yeah, if you're looking at those hair samples and you're an expert and you know hair samples, please, please, please feel free to comment down below what you think it is, because I'm curious. Again, I'm not going to say it's what is or what it isn't, because I don't know. At this point, I want real answers. I want real, okay, it's this or it's that. I think we need to really narrow it down. And if it is a Bigfoot hair, then we really need to make sure we have dotted our I's, crossed our T's, because I don't want somebody being able to come forward and say, oh, that's this hair. You know what I mean? So yeah, I need to talk to somebody about that and see, and maybe I need to talk to multiple people. But anyways, I'm going to continue to share my screen. We're going to go here. And this is our website. Again, people ask me all the time, how do I get in touch with you? You can go to deepwoodsparanormal.com. You can click the contact us button. If you come in here and you leave a message, it will email me. And then usually I get, your information within about 24 hours. All of our information's right here. So my phone number, my email, my personal email, all of our social links, except for Rumble, is in there. Couldn't find the Rumble link to put in here. It wouldn't let me. So again, we've upgraded and updated our website again. So again, everything, this is a one-stop shop. YouTube is here for you guys to come on here and watch our videos. Podcasts, our audio podcasts are here. We changed the background. I think I talked about this the other day. So I won't go into this too much, but the audio podcasts have changed. Public ghost hunts. Yes, we will be doing public ghost hunts and Bigfoot research. We'll be doing Bigfoot expeditions, maybe at Joe's and a few other places, the Sabine National Forest, and then maybe some of the other forests around here in the future. I'm in the process of setting that up. And of course, our productions page, Exploring the Unknown with Matt and Amanda, that's coming up. We're in the middle of trying to finish up 5 episodes and shoot some more. We have we have 5 or 6 lockdowns coming up. I've talked about this before. The 2 jails. We've got the house and the mansion in Galveston, the old ex-Normandy Inn. We're going to be going back out to the forest. I'm not going to say which one, to finish out that investigation into that forest. I'd like to go to the Daniel Boone National Forest, and we're going to be working in the Sabine National Forest as well, and stuff like that. So, real quick, if you're not a member of our Deep Woods Paranormal group here on Facebook, we post a lot of content here. You're welcome to come on here if you're a paranormal researcher or you have questions or whatever. You're welcome to come on here and become a member. Basically, I just need to make sure that your page is clean, and that you're not trying to do something negative or anything. But all of our podcasts, all of our information usually go here. So if you want to follow us on Facebook, this is a great place to come. It's the Deep Woods Paranormal Facebook group. And then, okay, so we're going to talk about hair samples. And to start, Essentially, we've talked about hair samples before, but we're going to take a deeper dive. So, this is a hair sample that was found a long time ago. I have several hair samples. I have one that actually looks like it has a piece of the skin, which is interesting. I need to get all these samples sent in for review. Again, I want to hopefully talk to somebody locally first, and then I will send this stuff in for review. But you can see this hair is kind of thick and coarse. This measures from whatever this is down here. I'm guessing it's a skin sample. All the way over to here is about 5 inches, 5+ inches, maybe almost 5.5 inches. So I found that pretty interesting. Here's a clump of hair, possible hair. And again, this is suspected. This isn't 100% for sure. So you can see somebody collected this. Let me just go back because I don't want to go through all this. What just happened? There we go. Oh, okay. There we go. All right, so there's lots of different hair samples. I think this sample here is closer. It's more longer, scraggly hair. This looks a lot like what is in this bag. If you're looking at the bag, unfortunately, there's a lot of branches in there, so I don't want to separate it from the branches because I don't want to touch it. It was left out in the weather for quite a while, and so essentially, just like I said, I don't want to touch it in case there is possibly still some DNA in there. I don't want to contaminate it, and so that's why I haven't done anything. But this hair looks pretty close. Okay, so let's see if there's any other hair samples. This one's pretty interesting. This looks like somebody got a chunk of skin and a whole bunch of soft-looking hair with it. Now, my theory is there's at least 4 different species of Bigfoots. You got the black ones. They're usually shorter. They're normally about 7 to 8 feet tall. I think they're more commonly seen. I think they're a little bit more aggressive. They're not as afraid of humans. They're usually more stocky. They're usually big and just bulky. They look like bouncers sometimes. So those are the black to dark brown ones. There's the blonde ones. They're tall and skinny usually. They're not very bulky. They are big, but they're not bulky. And they usually have more of a coned-shaped head. The black ones seem to have more of that round, like human-like face with the monkey-like features, with the lips that are more flat, and then the eyes are much bigger, which is interesting. I figure that might be something they have to be able to see better. Then you have the tan ones, which are they cross between brown and blonde. I don't think I've ever seen a tan one, but I've heard about them. And then, of course, there's the red ones, like the more orangutan looking ones. And I've only seen one once, and it was just tall, lanky, pushing probably 10+ feet and stuff like that. So different hair samples can come from different species, in my opinion. This hair sample looks more like maybe a blonde or a brown, blonde or a yellow one. This sample here seems to be more the brownish color, and you can just see it's like a little bit shorter hair.
Lean on us.
We are here for you.
You matter.
You are not alone.
Are you feeling overwhelmed? Not sure where to turn? The National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there for you 24/7. Call or text 988 or chat at 988sc.org. Whether you're having an emergency or you know someone who needs support now, they can help you take the next step towards finding hope and healing.
There is hope. 988sc.org.
Between aging and busy lifestyles, many women struggle with maintaining their physical and mental wellness. At Aquavita Concierge Healthcare Services for Women, we can help you revitalize your health and reclaim your life. We start from within by balancing your hormones, allowing your body to achieve and maintain desired weight goals. We also specialize in peptide therapies, regenerative medicine, sexual health, and aesthetics in our state-of-the-art facilities. Feel better, look better, live better at Aquavita. Visit aquavitality.com and begin your journey today. today.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
And stuff like that. So that's pretty interesting. And then the black ones seem to have longer hair. The blonde ones do too. Some of them have that really long, stringy hair. I think it depends on what area they're in. If it gets colder in their area, I think they have longer hair. If it's hotter like it is now, it's 109 degrees out right now. I think that they essentially have shorter hair, and they may be shedding their hair as well, like dogs and cats and human. Every mammal basically does that. They shed hair little by little. Not every mammal, but most mammals do. As it gets hotter, we lose hair. As it gets colder, our hair kind of thickens up. So, but yeah, this is just interesting. I wish this was a little clearer. Let's take a look at this. This says Bigfoot hair. Again, this is more like what I found. Looks like it's been bent over and just shoved down into a bottle. I think they're trying to sell this. But that looks closer. I'm guessing this is probably not real hair, but it kind of looks like what I've seen. So, all right, let's move on. Gifting. Let's talk about gifting. And I had a whole thing on this in just a second here. Where did it go? Oh, I lost it. All right. So I was reading an article about gifting, and essentially it says that you can do pretty much anything: marbles, lighters, different things like that. Sometimes people put out Christmas gifts. Sometimes people put out religious items like crosses and stuff like that. Toys, people leave toys for them. Seems like in the article I was reading, they like coins, like silver and gold coins and stuff like that, and copper pennies and stuff like that, and anything that's shiny, I imagine. And supposedly somebody left out about 150 coins, just copper pennies, so it didn't cost them much, $1.50. And they let them out, and the Bigfoots took them little by little over a 2-year period, and then they started finding them within a 100-mile radius. So they left them in trees and on stumps and on different places. So I don't know why they would do that, but it's part of the study, and it's part of the research that we do. Why would they come in and take something? And I think that at this point in time, I've got to do some more research into like gorillas and orangutans and stuff like that. And I want to look for similar behaviors. And if you remember, I don't know how long ago it was on the podcast that I talked about going to the zoo and seeing I think it was an orangutan, essentially coming out and then going down, walking on 2 feet and then going down to all fours and then laying down and crawling on its tummy. I'm like, holy crap, I've seen that before. And it's just like, oh, that's Bigfoot behavior. So I think that maybe they have a lot of the similar behaviors. And that kind of ties into the Spookum cast. We're going to jump to the bottom of what I was going to talk about, and then we'll come back up here. So this is the Spookum cast. I don't know if I can make that any bigger. We'll just see. So essentially what happened with the Spookum cast is a Bigfoot. You can kind of see it here. They did measurements. They did a really good job of documenting this. They have the actual coordinates of where this happened. And they basically laid out where they think everything happened. They think the Bigfoot sorry, they're in a mood today, these dogs. They think they just kind of lay down on its side and kind of stretched out and curled up into like a side sleeping position. And maybe it was sitting there watching them. We don't know, but they essentially found this cast. And let me look at different pictures here. So this is basically what they casted. They actually had plaster casting. This is not a clear picture, but this is more close. Here we go. So this is what it looked like. And from this, they basically were able to cast it and figure out, where things kind of were. You have two buttocks, you have the heel, you have a heel, you have another heel. I don't know why they have three heels. So maybe this is one foot and this is the other. And then you have a hand, a wrist, a forearm, and an elbow. So basically, maybe it was laying. See, this doesn't make any sense. I don't know how they classified this. You have buttocks, thigh. So basically, it was laying like this. It was laying on this side, and then the heels were curled up, and then maybe it moved a couple times to different positions, and that's why you get this whole setup. But the fact that they captured this is amazing. It's a great print. Let's go back to this because it'll make more sense. This looks like it's been flipped. If you look at the casting down below here, and if you're just listening to the podcast, you can come back on here and watch the video podcast and be able to see it's on a Rumble or YouTube page, link down below. Anyways, you can see, that basically when they poured the casting, it essentially flipped when they pulled it out. The casting is going to be opposite of the way the animal actually laid. And from, the look of it, if you look at Patty, she looks more like a giant gorilla than anything else. She doesn't really look like an orangutan or anything, but she just have human-like features. So, there's a lot of talk about where Bigfoots came from. Are they ancient man species? Are they some kind of gorilla that we just don't know about, and stuff like that? Were they created by by Big Brother? So let's talk about that too, because somebody asked me about that. Is Bigfoot being hidden by the government? Well, with all the UFO stuff coming out, they're now starting to reveal supposed evidence. I don't buy everything they're putting out. I think that they're basically, with UFOs, they're basically telling you some things and not telling you others, and maybe they're trying to mislead you. And I think that a lot of the stuff that you're hearing, some of it, I would say it's about a 50-50 shot. I mean, some of it's real. In every lie, there's truth. In every truth, there's a lie. So, I mean, you have to kind of just make up your own mind of what you think is really going on. I mean, they're never going to tell you the real story. They're never going to tell you exactly what's going on because they really don't want you to know. That's their job, is to basically keep us confused and stuff like that. So, do I think the government's hiding? I'm sorry, Big Brother is hiding Bigfoot? Maybe. I've heard multiple stories, and I've talked about this before, of the government capturing Bigfoots. I've talked to several people, and I don't know, I don't know these people, 100%. I've met them in strange places and had them come up and start telling me information, and then all of a sudden they just shut up. So were they there as plants? Did they come in just to kind of throw me off the scent? I know at certain points we've been watched, we've been followed by strange vehicles and stuff like that because we got too close to something, and then we weren't able to get into certain areas. And what's interesting is the areas where we found some crazy evidence, like structures and those huge footprints and that eaten catfish with the teeth marks in the bone. That's from what Joe told me, that burned down like a week after we were there. That whole area burned down, so that area is gone. And where the trees all domed in, there was like 7 or 8 trees that were bent way up 20 feet plus in the air. or bent in like a dome, almost like a church. It was weird. But who knows? Why did that burn? I can't tell you for sure. I was not there, so I can't tell you 100% that I know that they did that on purpose. Was it just part of their controlled burn area? Maybe, but they did burn it down. So, let's see, what else were they asking? Were the Bigfoots created by the government? Are they some kind of secret experiment, some super soldier gone wrong? Again, I try and be very careful about talking about this stuff. I can tell you my opinions, which don't really matter because it doesn't really answer your questions. But, again, you have to kind of do your own research. And if you do, just be careful. The more I research this topic, the more I am kind of like, okay, I can't talk about that. Okay, I shouldn't talk about this. Holy crap, I found this. But I don't want to present this, without it being, without having some kind of backing that will back me up in case something does, in case, they decide to come and take that evidence from us and stuff like that. So, somebody asks about footprints. And do I find footprints to be the best evidence of Bigfoot? Here you can kind of see some footprints that people have collected over the years. Some of them have the 5 toes, some have 4 toes, some have 3, some have, some are just flat, some are, they show the actual mid-tarsal break. They're able to actually show you where that foot stepped down and maybe clamp down a little bit. Because if you look at our feet clamp down. Since I'm not really talking about these pictures anymore, let me talk about this. So our feet, most of our feet have a little bit of an arch, right? And so when we walk, our feet do actually kind of squeeze like this a little tiny bit so that we can kind of grip the surface we're on. And most of us are wearing shoes. But if you're out walking barefoot and you stepped in some mud, you might see a little tiny bit of an arch in between the heel and the ball of the foot and the toes, of course. And the toes, of course, usually squeeze down as we walk so we can push off. And that usually leaves that fine toe prints. Bigfoots, I think, do the same thing, but I think they also have a way to, let's say this is a foot. This is the back of the foot. This is the middle of the foot where my palm is on my left hand. I think their feet can also hinge up in the middle. I do think that they have a mid-tarsal break that goes both down and up somehow. And I think they're able to maybe flex their feet a little bit more like a gorilla or an ape or something like that, some kind of a monkey. I believe they have a lot more play in their foot than we do. I mean, yeah, people can pick stuff up with their toes and stuff like that, but you couldn't squeeze the middle of your foot and pick something up. I think the Bigfoots may have that ability. I think their feet, are more like ours, but they actually have more flexibility in their feet. So sometimes when you see a print on the ground, you'll see like a little bump in the middle, or you might see a crease in the middle of that footprint, and that's what they call mid-tarsal break. And I believe that when they step in, they hit heel first, and then they kind of squish their foot down, like I was talking about before, where humans kind of clamp. But I think they may clamp down a little more. And so the ball of the foot and then the toes, normally if you find a print, the most prominent thing is either going to be the heel or the ball of the foot and the toes. You don't really see a lot of, unless the ground's really, really soft, you don't really see that middle of that foot section very often. So do I think footprints are the best evidence? I mean, sometimes people have even been able to get the ridging, like if you look at your hand or your foot, you see the skin has these little ridges all over it, like a fingerprint. Well, they've been able to get some of those, and they've looked at them, and they're different than our footprints and our handprints. So, I mean, I think it tells us a lot about these creatures. It doesn't tell us everything, but it does say that there's something different out there. And like I said, did Big Brother create these things? I don't really, they could be experimenting on them. They could be capturing them. I know, I've heard they've killed what they call nuisance Bigfoots, and before, where they basically will go into an area where Bigfoots are really being active, and they'll kill them and remove the bodies. And again, you got to take that with a grain of salt. It's just stories that I've heard. I mean, it's just I get a lot of information shared with me, but I don't, these people don't want to be recorded. They don't want to be on film. They don't want their story out there. They just want to share with me. So I'm allowed to essentially, that's little Miss Tink wobbling in here, essentially talk about that. That's all I can do. I can basically just share their story with you. I can't give out any names or anything like that. So, because it was done under anonymity. Excuse me, I can't even talk tonight. So yeah, I do think that footprints are a key thing. It would be nice if we could find some kind of handprints. We do find hair samples. Now we found the Spookum cast where something laid down. Bigfoots do go on all fours quite a bit. They look like a giant bear, and sometimes they will lay down on their stomachs and do the army crawl as well. Like if they're creeping, they'll come in, they'll lay down on all fours, and they'll kind of take a look. And then if they think they need to get down even lower, they can get down lower. They'll get down on their stomachs and look out and see what's going on. So that's why you don't see them a lot. And, when people say, "Oh, it just disappeared," well, probably more than likely what happened was it was standing and then it just dropped down behind something. I've seen Bigfoots drop down behind trees and in behind trees, excuse me, or lay down on all fours and just take off. They're extremely fast that way. So, okay, let me see what else we were going to talk about today. Okay. So there's a couple here. We'll save the Texas thing for last. So, do I really think Bigfoots create nests and structures? Yes, I do believe that they create structures. I'm not so sure about nests, although they've been finding quite a few of them now, especially because the shows kind of shed a light on that. I don't really think people are going to go out into the wilderness and sit there and try and make a giant bird's nest and then claim it to be a Bigfoot site. I really don't. I don't think they're going to take the time to do that. I think that's very, very involved. That would take days probably to do right. And, and somebody could be out there, "Oh, look, man, I could do it in like 3 minutes." Who knows? You got a pile of sticks and you just start weaving it around and stuff like that. I have seen mini structures. I've seen many structures, and where they basically have taken a tree and they bent it over, and then they stack broken off branches and tree trunks and stuff like that. Not big ones, but usually small, 1 to 2 inch tree trunks against that, and then they'll weave like live branches through it if it's in a thick area, and they'll create a blind. I've seen that. I've been behind it. If you've watched our YouTube channel, especially at Joe's, you've seen that back at Black Star Canyon. They didn't even have to weave anything. They basically kind of cleared out a space between some bushes and climbed in there. And I think they were using that to watch as people walk by, maybe even bedding down in there. You could have walked right past it and nobody would have known they were there. I remember a long time ago, we were walking on a Black Star Canyon, and I walked over towards one of these hollowed out, it's just a set of bushes, and where I said, "Oh yeah, I kind of crawled in there and laid down." You couldn't see me. A bunch of people walked by me that didn't even see me, and so I walked over there, and I think there must have been a Bigfoot there. As I walked in, and it started like shaking the bushes and growling and grunting, and then we moved away from it pretty quick because it scared us. We didn't know what it was, but yes, I do believe that they really create structures. I've never come across a nest. I've come across structures that look like they were put together roughly by a man, but they weren't really, shelters. They were basically like roughly put together like a lean-to, or and just weird stuff like that. And so again, that area where we found those lean-tos and the fish head and the trees that were all domed up about 20 feet up, or they're all bent in towards each other, we found that that was burned down a couple weeks after we shot the video from there. So that's interesting. We have to be really careful about the locations we go to and what we present as evidence, because I don't want them coming in doing more controlled burns, if you will. So, yeah, I mean, that kind of answers that question. We can do a deeper dive into that. If you guys have pictures of structures, or you want to comment down below on any of this, you're welcome to. Have you found footprints? Do you think that the government's hiding, Big Brother's hiding Bigfoot from us? Do you believe that Bigfoot's really create nests? What are your thoughts on the Spookumcast? Again, feel free to comment down below. Just be polite, respect other people's opinions. This is all theory at this point. There is no it is or it isn't. So, have you ever done any gifting? Have you found Bigfoot hair samples? What have you done with them? And so I'm going to save this last one. And we'll talk about this in a second. Why do I think Bigfoot is the best place for Bigfoots? Okay, so let me share my screen again. We'll go back to here. Let me share this. Let me open up a new window. Go into Google. Move me out of the way. And when you get in the right map, and we'll look at maps. Okay, so let me switch this over to terrain.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
And I will zoom back out. Okay, so if I zoom out, you can kind of see some of the pins I've dropped. I've been trying to drop pins throughout throughout the US. So this is these maps up here are incomplete. There's probably a whole bunch more pins that need to be dropped in here. And these little blue pins, this is Washington, Oregon. You got Montana and Idaho, because this is a hot spot for them as well. I mean, this area, if you put all this area together and maybe part of California and part of Nevada, you'd have Texas. So, there's probably a lot more sightings in here that I don't have pinned. And some of these pins that you see on the map, there's multiple sightings at these locations. And so it just wasn't worth it to drop every single, sighting on a pin. So Anyways, this kind of gives you a general area. So imagine this is about the size. So let's go scoot down. So this area is about the size of Texas. You can see how many pins there are just in this area. So let's go back to Texas. If my pins will pop up, this is not all of them by far. I don't know why the pins aren't popping up. There's a lot more. We're missing pins. Anyways, this might be, I don't know what pins are on here. Let me see something here. So the Bigfoot sightings. Okay, so that's going. All right. Oops. All right. So don't want to show any of that. All right. So let's just look at, if we cut Texas in half, let's say from here over, let's say from Austin to, let's just use this as a line. Let's say Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, down to like Corpus Christi. We'll call that the halfway point. So if you come in here, you can already see there's a lot of pins. I have more pins probably dropped in Texas than I had anywhere else. I had a lot in California too, and not this many. So, I mean, this is why. And I'm missing, honestly, I've talked about this before. This whole section, I'm researching this area from Waco to Brenham to Austin. Basically this triangle here. If you go all the way over to, let's say, the Sam Houston National Forest, this section here, I believe, is missing a whole bunch of pins. I think I'm missing a crap ton of pins in here. There's been a lot of reports that I've been researching lately, and a lot of these blue pins that you're seeing off to the left here that I'm kind of circling around with my mouse, and then over here towards College Station, Bryan, Brenham, and Centerville and all that stuff, there's a lot of pins missing here. And there's a lot of multiple sightings in through here that people, that I'm just missing reports. And I think as I go, hopefully I'll be able to fill this section in more. But this area is more forested. There's not a lot of stuff out here. There's roads and there's little towns that are kind of becoming bigger towns. Of course, Austin's pretty good sized. But, these little towns out here, there's not much out here. I mean, it's a lot of forest, a lot of open land. You got Smithville down here, which is an older town, which is kind of big. And then from here up, up to Rockdale, Caldwell. These are just little old towns. And there's a lot of reports out here. And then you come up here and you get, of course, the Brazos River that comes through here, and stuff like that. You got Navasota. That's a little bit more developed, but Brenham, you got all these little towns, all surrounding these little towns, is still pretty green. There's a lot of forest in here. You got the Hearn area, you got the Franklin area, and then as you start going up towards like Longview up here, there's a lot of pins that are probably missing in these sections. I have a lot of pins here, but there's a lot of stuff missing. And then as you go in, of course, to the Sam Houston National Forest, and you get the north side of Houston here, and then as you go from, as you get away from Houston, just out to the outskirts, where there's these little towns, you can just see how many pins there are. And again, most of these pins in the Sam Houston National Forest area, and this whole forest area, if you take this big green area, there's thousands of reports just in this section. And this is just one little tiny piece of Texas right here. If you go up to the Dallas area up here, there's a crap ton of pins missing from Dallas over to Shreveport. This whole section of Texas, it's like Bigfoot Central. And you would think there'd be a lot more reports, but these Bigfoots, they figured out that people are interested in them, and they essentially just, they try and avoid us, which is good. Honestly, I think that's a good thing. If people knew that Bigfoot existed, there'd be big game hunters out there. There'd be all kinds of people out there, trying to gun one of these things down. No, I got a 14-footer. Look at, like, I'm stuffed up and he's now in my game room. You know what I mean? So, I mean, we don't know the actual numbers of Bigfoots. We don't know how many there actually are. There's so many reports, and one Bigfoot could be seen multiple times by different people in different areas. I don't have a way to do a radius here, but I mean, just in the Sam Houston National Forest, let's look at this little section here. So this is the bottom section of the Sam Houston National Forest, and look at all the reports. There's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Now, most of these are multiple reports. So actually, let's go here. It's 14, 15, 16. Just in this small section right here. That's how, and that could be one group of Bigfoots. It could be multiple groups of Bigfoots. This is not a small area. But it's very forested. It's very secluded. Yes, there's homes in here, but you have to have basically had your home here since way back in the day. You've had to have owned this land from a long period of time, because if you didn't own the land, essentially, you can't just come in here and buy a chunk of land unless it's, unless the government somehow for some reason is giving it away, or somebody has to be selling their land, which doesn't happen very often. Usually it gets handed down from generation to generation. So that's why I think Texas is just such a hot spot for Bigfoots. Now, I mean, if you take Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, into Kansas, into Missouri, New Mexico, not so much. But this section, I mean, if you cut this section out, even in Mississippi and Alabama, as you go towards New York, this section of the United States is just a big time hotspot for Bigfoots. My theory is that they migrate up and down. A lot of people on the Ozark Trail have reported seeing Bigfoots or experiencing some kind of Bigfoot activity. So, who knows what they're doing, but I mean, who knows what their migration patterns exactly are. But, if you look at Texas, how many roadside accounts have you seen? I mean, I thought I saw something. I can't tell you for sure it was a Bigfoot, but I saw something crossing the road, and it was bipedal. It was big. It was 7-8 feet tall. I think that the juveniles, right around this time of the year, as it cools down, they're starting to move. They're moving into other colonies or other groupings or family groupings, whatever you want to call it, possibly to mate and stuff like that, or maybe form new family groups and stuff like that. Who knows how long Bigfoots really actually live? I saw that silver gray one. That was my first one I ever saw, was silver gray. And who knows, how old that thing was. Was it 50, 60, 70, 80 years old, or was it, 30 years old, 40 years old, maybe younger? How long do apes and that type of species live? These are all questions I have. The more I research, the more I'm looking at other species to compare notes and see, what's what matches up, what doesn't match up. Okay, I've had this experience. Do orangutans do this? Do gorillas do this? Do other species that are similar to humans do this? Do humans do this? So I mean, it's just the more I research these things, the more questions I have. Did you know that gorillas can actually make fires? They actually know they can start fires, and they can make tools. They can do all kinds of crazy things that people probably don't give them credit for. Orangutans are as smart as people. They're extremely smart. They can learn an alphabet. So, I mean, the more I research them, the more I think it's possible that Bigfoots can do more than what people give them credit for. And what if they are some kind of human species that just hasn't been, found yet? So anyways, let me stop sharing my screen. But yeah, like I said, I mean, the more I dive down this rabbit hole, the more questions I have, the more it's like, okay, what's real, what's not, and stuff like that. So anyways, like I said, if you have answers to the questions I've kind of presented, or you have theories or whatever, I'd love to talk to people about this stuff. If you'd like to come onto the podcast, I'd love to hear your theories. Even if you're a non-believer, I would love to hear your theories. Because the more I talk to people, the more it kind of leads me, it narrows down that huge, wide, gaping hole that I've gone down. And the more I can kind of eliminate this and I can eliminate that. And okay, this makes sense or that makes sense. I want real proof, real evidence, real findings. I want real answers. And I don't want to just make stuff up as I go, because it just doesn't do anybody any good. If we're going to really learn about these creatures, then we really need to really do real research and get real people that really know what they're doing involved. So anyways, guys, I appreciate you guys listening and watching. If you haven't, please subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you get our content. Sometimes people don't get content and you fall behind. There will be a bunch of shorts coming up here in the next couple of weeks. Hopefully, we will be doing an investigation with the haunted dolls. We just didn't get to this weekend because my cell phone went crazy and decided to rest in peace. So I'm not gonna say any more than that. Anyways, thank you guys for watching and listening. Again, if you haven't subscribed to our Facebook page, please do. Please like and subscribe this video, and we will catch you on the next one.
Start Battery Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get up to a $25 gift card after rebate with the purchase of select Superstart batteries. Our professional parts people will test your old battery for free and recommend the right battery for your vehicle. For power, performance, and reliability, choose Superstart batteries only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.